Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to worship here at Highlands United Church. My name is Andria Irwin. I'm one of the ministers of this community, and it is a great day to be together here, wherever here is for you, wherever you are joining us from. We invite you to take a moment, if you are maybe the extroverted type, to enter that chat box on the right-hand side of our YouTube video and say hello, say good morning, introduce yourself, maybe share a prayer that you would like held by this community or a celebration from the past week that we can share in with you. And if you are more of the introvert and would still like to be seen, we invite you to email any of our ministry staff here at Highlands as well, or to email prayers@highlandsunited.org and know that your prayers will be held throughout the week as well. Highlands United Church is located in North Vancouver, British Columbia, on the unceded territory of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam people. You will notice on Sunday mornings, beside our pulpit, we have a beautifully carved talking stick. And this is a gift from Coast Salish artist Darren Yelton. And this past summer, Reverend Will did an interview with Darren Yelton on the banks of the Capilano River. And that is available for you to see on our YouTube page. It talks about the history, not only of Darren and his art and his people, but as well of the gift that this talking stick was. So acknowledging this relationship is one of the ways that we are working towards right relationship with the Indigenous people of this country. So take a moment and acknowledge the land that you are on right now, whether that's to yourself or those worshiping with you, or in that chat box. Again, we love using that space. We will be hearing from several different voices during this morning's service, but not all of them are here in the building. With me today in this room is Reverend Will Sparks, who will be offering the sermon this morning. We have our musicians, Geordie Roberts, Aidan Roberts, and Janet Warren, and we have our amazing tech team. We have Corey and Noel Hollett, we have Tristan Bentley Michaud, and we have Elliot Best. So we are glad to be with you in this space, as well as with the voices that we will hear from a little bit later in this service. Worship is going to be beginning in just a moment, but one final note is that it is Communion Sunday this week, so you are invited to gather the elements that you have available to you for that meal, maybe some bread and some juice, and prepare those so that you have them ready when the time comes to share in that meal. Everyone is invited to that table, and we will walk you through exactly what to do when the moment comes. While you are in your kitchen, we would also invite you to get a plastic cup. This is not for your communion juice. This is for something else. So just tuck that aside, and if you have one, great. We will put it to good use. This past 4 weeks of Epiphany, we have been adding some symbols to the front of our sanctuary that help us visualize the themes of this series we're in: guiding lights, big bangs, and other great epiphanies. This is a time we have spent together asking the big questions. So we have added a telescope, we have added a microscope, and you might not have noticed, but last week we added a stethoscope. I think Elliot's going to give you a look at that because it was a little bit hidden last week. And this stethoscope belongs to Dr. Dory Piercy. So many scopes. Today, we have one more symbol that you will see added on that table. This is a familiar symbol, and it is helping us to visualize the power of music. This is our prayer bowl, something that you see every Sunday. You are used to the prayer bowl calling us into worship, but today we will let it sit as a representation of our togetherness while we are called together a little differently than usual. So let us take a moment and ready ourselves for worship. Plant your feet, take a deep breath, and just be here.
The universe is filled with sound. Tones coming together, working together, playing together, coming together into music, changing the state of your mind, changing the state of your heart. Each week we set a sound to begin worship. And that sound reminds us, has memory connected to it. We remember that sound at the beginning of worship each time, and it reminds us of other times when we have come together. And it reminds us of the place that we are in, and the community we are a part of, and the place that we play in that community. And day by day, by faith, we learn to trust it. And the particles of our heart and mind and body, kind of just like on that big metal plate, they start to bounce and resonate and align themselves into the posture of praise. And it's not just sound, it's also sight. Because every week we also light, the Christ candle. Reminiscent of so many other candles that we light in celebration, in hope, in mourning, in joy, in memorial, for the sake of love. This candle reminds us of all of that and brings it together into one light, the Christ light. So we join in worship.
Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Worship your God with gladness. Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Come to this place with a song. Know that your God has made you. Know it's to God we belong. And come to this place with joyfulness and praise. Worship your God with a song. Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Worship your God with gladness. Make a joyful noise, all the earth. Come to this place with a song. Enter these gates, thanksgiving. love of our Maker ever shall endure. Worship your God with a song. Make a joyful noise all ye earth. Worship your God with gladness. Make a joyful noise all ye earth. Come to this place with a song.
Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to find that plastic cup that I think Andria mentioned as we were coming together for worship, because you're going to need this plastic cup. And put it in front of you, like I'm doing right now, because I want to teach you a rhythm. I'm sure that you've heard this rhythm. It comes from a song that was written back in the 1930s, all that time ago. It was revived about 10 years ago for a movie called Pitch Perfect. And it caught on, and there's a whole a kind of game that you can play related to the theme song. I also heard it just a little while ago because it was the theme song for a British show called Mum, which I highly recommend. Go find that sometime in the next couple of weeks. But back to the song and the cup. There's a core rhythm to it, and I'm going to teach it to you. You may not get it the first time or the second time or even the 10th time. I certainly didn't. And I ended up going on YouTube and reminding myself how it goes. And eventually you'll get it. And this is the way it goes. And there are words that go with it. So it goes clap, and I'll do two parts. The first part goes like this. Clap, clap, tap-a-tap, clap, up, down. Okay? I'll do that nice and slowly. Clap, clap, tap-a-tap, clap, up, down. One more time. Clap, clap, tap-a-tap, clap, up, down. Okay, think you got that? We're going to go on to the second half. It's a little trickier. You kind of move to the side and you go clap, sweep, and then you hit the part that was on the bottom. So that's clap, sweep, hit, down. Oh dear. And I've forgotten already. Let me just remind myself. That's right. Then you grab the bottom, hit, down. So that second half again. Clap, sweep, hit, down, grab, hit, down. Let's do that second half again, nice and slow. Clap, sweep, hit, down, grab, hit, down. So now, I know, that's a lot to learn in a very short period of time. I'm going to put the whole thing together really slowly, and you see if you can follow, okay? Clap, clap, hit, tap-a-tap, clap, up, down, clap, sweep, hit, down, grab, hit, down. I'll do it a little bit faster, and then you'll start to get the groove of it as we do it a little faster. Clap, clap, hit, tap, clap, up, down, clap, sweep, hit, down, grab, hit, down, clap, clap, tap, tap, clap, up, down, clap, sweep, hit, down, grab, hit, down, clap, clap, tap, tap, clap, up, down. Starting to get it? And starting to feel the groove? It's cool. I know, it's a lot to learn all at once, but you'll get it. Here's the kicker. It looks like a solo, doesn't it? But it's not. This is a perfect at-home with your family pandemic activity, okay? You sit around a table in a circle. You each have a plastic cup. And when the end time comes to put it down on the last time, instead of putting it down in front of you, you put it down in front of the person beside you. And the person on the other side of you puts their cup down in front of you. And the cups go round and round and round. And this is what that looks like. I'm going to do it a little slowly, and then we'll speed it up a little bit. Got it? And you just keep going. And the cups go round and round and round. Just think about that, okay? How many things are going on at the same time? You're moving your hands. You're remembering the rhythm. You're trying to remember where your hands need to be and where the cup needs to be. And not only that, you're thinking about who's next to you and making sure that you land it so that they can pick it up and they land it so that you can pick it up. It's a collective thing. And you know what else? You can sing it. Now, I didn't do that this morning because, well, you saw I was kind of stretched to do even as much as we did this morning. But think about all those things coming together. It's a bit of a miracle that humans can actually do that. That you can actually do that, that I can actually do that. But we can, because by some incredible mystery, we are able to, all that stuff is able to come together into one experience. And Bella and Kaylin are going to show us what that looks like, and maybe also what that feels like when it all comes together.
I got my ticket for the long way round, the one with the prettiest of views. It's got mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights to give you shivers, but it sure would be prettier with you. When I'm gone, when I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my hair, you're gonna miss me everywhere. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. When I'm gone, when I'm gone, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. You're gonna miss me by my walk, you're gonna miss me by my talk. Oh, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Thank you, Kaylin and Bella, for that. Our scripture reading this morning comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. This is the well-known chapter on love. And this is most familiar to people because it is often read at weddings, and it is very well suited for that moment. But when Paul wrote this, weddings were the furthest thing from his mind. He was writing to the church in Corinth at a time when they were really not getting on. They were competitive, they were dismissing one another, they weren't listening well, and it was hard. This letter was intended to lay a foundation for them about how Christian community ought to be. And just before this reading, in chapter 12, Paul has said that the church is the body of Christ, and like a body, has different parts, none better than the other, but each with its own important function. And then in today's reading, he talks of love, that thing that holds it all together. And in honor of the musical focus of the day, Reverend Will has written a paraphrase of 1 Corinthians 13 for musicians. So after I read this for you, we will then sing it. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, according to Will. If I can sing all the finest arias and sound like an angel, but I do not sing for love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have been given a remarkable gift, and I can understand the inner workings of any piece, and not only that, hit every note perfectly, but not with love, I offer nothing. If I sacrifice everything to become famous and become the finest musician, but do it not for love, it means nothing. Love is the secret ingredient in all music. It waits its turn gently without drawing attention to itself. In the music of love, there is give and take, rising and falling, making room. And when it hears a wrong note, love responds by encouraging and rejoicing in the music. Love rests, trusts, starts again, and never gives up. Every piece of music has a beginning and an ending. Every singer sings for but a moment. Every composer writes their final opus. For human music is but a part of the music of the spheres. But when we give in to the eternal music of love, the struggle falls away. When I first learned to play, I plunked out the notes, resisted practicing, didn't see the point. But when I became an adult, I began to see the universal language of love contained in music. For now we hear but a faint melody, but in time with love, music will bring us face to face with God. Now we catch bits of harmony, rhythm, but in time with love, we will hear and be part of the whole symphony. And so play, sing, learn the notes, become skilled. These are important, but remember to do it all for love. Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Will you join me in prayer? Oh God, you are the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of life. You are the composer, the one in whose mind the melodies, the harmonies, the dissonance resolving is first conceived. So take the words of my mouth and the meditations within our hearts and the events of our living, and let your love bring it all together. Amen. Probably most of us have some story, some experience in our lives when all the pieces of an experience came together into a moment. And in that moment, we see more clearly that something significant is going on. That there's a depth to our living. These moments happen, and we call them epiphanies, and we've been exploring epiphanies from the perspective of various different magi voices, people who can look at life and help us understand what's really going on. And in a moment, when it all lines up, we go, oh, I think I get a little piece of it more clearly. I think many of us have those kinds of experiences involving music. Not exclusively, but often. A formative moment in my life happened in 1985 when I was at a youth and young adult conference that brought together 350 young people from all over Canada and also other parts of the world. And it was called Kairos 85. And it had all those things that typical United Church youth conferences have. It had theme speakers, and it had workshops, and it had small groups, and there were friendships that emerged, and so on. All that good stuff that we do to try and till the soil of faith in the community. And it brought together, this particular conference brought together some activists from around the world who were working for the United Church or related to the United Church, and it brought together artists and theologians and ministers and young people all together to talk about, and interestingly enough, at that time, we ended up talking about a lot of the things that I care about. And it was an amazing experience for me. After those 3 or 4 days, near the end of our time, Louise Rose, wonderful black woman from Philadelphia who lives in Victoria and is an incredible jazz pianist and vocalist, did a concert. And in this concert, all the stories that I had heard and the lives that had been shared so generously and the dreams of a better world that had been articulated and sparked within me and the hopefulness of youth, it all kind of came together. And there was a strong sense of empowerment. Like God's dream for life might actually be possible. And it might have something to do with you, and it might have something to do with me. So near the end of her concert, Louise paused and looked out at all of us. And I think she changed her mind in that moment as to what she was going to play. And she just started to play. And she played a bunch of notes. That's what it sounded like to me. It was a little bit of a Mozart moment. So many notes. And then slowly, out of that cascading music came a particular melody. Slowly, out of the notes emerged. And it was the classic 1960s song of empowerment, "We Shall Overcome." And it just emerged slowly. And she began to sing it. And at a certain point, people started to stand and started to join her. And the music grew. And at a certain point, the balance of the music that she had started to play solo shifted. And it turned into a collective thing that she was facilitating, but that was far more than her. 350 people, and Louise trying to keep up with some big thing that was going on. And as we sang the final words, "We shall overcome someday," there was silence. And into that silence, Louise simply spoke, "At that rate, peace is possible." I believe that in that moment, and in so many other moments, if we are awake to experience them, the universe, God, reality, revealed itself for what it truly is. The depth dimension opened up, and we witnessed deep goodness. No, not quite. Because Andria said, when she was talking a few weeks ago about Genesis, no, at that point it's not just good, it's very good. And the very good, the very part of it is in the part of it that brings us together. That experience in between us that gels us. It's the collagen of community, as Nancy Ford had put it, where what did she say? The Jell-O and the M&Ms. It's the Jell-O in the Jell-O and M&M stuff. Holding the particles together, holding the individuals together, bringing us together by some unseen hand of grace, some unseen energy of magnetic energy that Paul rightly called love. God is at work all the time like that. If we are awake to experience it. We often experience it in music, and that's one of God's elegant ways that God does that work in the spaces between us and within us. This week, we asked 3 magis of music to tell us of a moment of epiphany in their practice of music that might help us understand just what's going on in that space within and between us when we are making music or when we are experiencing music. Joni Bai, musician, leader of a group called Songshine here in North Vancouver. Corey Hollett, one of our own and music therapist. And Francis Roberts, another one of our own and high school music teacher, will share their insights into just what's going on when it all comes together.
I'm Joni Bai. I teach a course called Songshine that is for vocal empowerment for people who've lost the ability to communicate through Parkinson's disease, stroke, other neurological ailments, or just aging voice. It's also for people who just want to do a bit more singing. I had an epiphany moment a few years ago, about 4 years ago in this course. There've been more than one, but this one stands out to me. There was a gentleman in the class who had had several strokes and had lost the ability to speak at all. So he was a very quiet member of the class, but we sing in the class. And I had just played the intro to When I Fall in Love and turned around to say something to the class. And this gentleman started to sing the song and sang it from start to finish. This was a man we had not heard make a peep. So it was pretty emotional. I looked around the class and then I turned back to my music because I thought, I'm going to cry, and looked around the class, and I know everyone else felt the same way. And everyone was so supportive of him. Everyone clapped. Everyone went, wow, that was amazing. And it was amazing. The community was thrilled to see him do that. And part of what made that happen was the circuits in his brain, which he had lost some of them that usually would help him speak, had reconnected through music. And it can either be the memory of music, or sometimes if you're learning a new song, those circuits can form new circuits. And the fact that he was in a space where everyone was supportive and everyone was there for the same purpose, and everyone was there as a community, making him feel safe, allowed that to happen at that time. So it was that was an epiphany moment, a wow moment.
As a music therapist working in long-term care with seniors, it's fascinating and fantastic to see the range of reactions music brings out in the folks that I get to work with. Well, I can't get super specific because of privacy things. One thing I can say is that group music activities are often the most revealing and rewarding. For example, when a new resident moves in, they're adjusting to a pretty fundamental change, moved from the places and people that they've been used to. So it's awesome to see when they start coming to groups and sing along to a song that's familiar to them and notice another person nearby singing it as well and realize their shared love of that music. Oftentimes they'll then be chatting with the other person and forming a swift bond half an hour later over coffee and snacks. Especially when working with people from particular places around the world, using regional music can bring connections really quickly. It can bring out those moments between people of, oh, I didn't realize you were from such and such a place. What town, city, village, and so on. I think one of the things that really works in those moments when the residents really get into the music and everything clicks is just that for everyone, our favorite songs are so often tied to significant moments. Everything from childhood nursery rhymes to early concerts with friends, weddings, celebrations, even something from a few months ago. But they're almost always moments of connection in some way, and often gathering. Formative moments in some way that involved most, if not all, of our senses. It's why hearing a song we haven't for 5, 10, 20, 40 years takes us right back to that moment like muscle memory, which is exactly why in those group activity moments it can be fantastic to see some residents who, depending on what they're dealing with, might not be able to express themselves well, suddenly snap their eyes into focus, or smile, or lightly mouth the words, or tap their knee, and be able to engage and participate in a way that perhaps they haven't been able to outside of those activities with others in several years, even just for a moment. Because the music draws on memory, feeling, connection, and does so almost automatically, so they don't have to necessarily consciously think or perhaps push as much to engage. Just do what comes naturally as best they can. I think one of the aspects that comes out the most in these moments is that while the residents are enjoying this music that is in some way significant to them, they're simultaneously having an experience that's entirely unique to them, as each person is thinking of different experience tied to the song. But it's also fully communal and shared, and that's awesome. Often after each song, the residents can start chatting to each other about what they were remembering, and so in that sense, sometimes when the planned structure I had of the activity goes off the rails, it can be the most rewarding, and it's nice to be able to see that kind of thing on a regular basis as part of my job.
So the story is of a group of my students that were on a tour, and we were in the Baltic nations, and we had the pleasure of singing at the high school in Tallinn, Estonia. And it was a brand new school, and the school personnel were so pleased to share it with us and that we would be performing in their theater. So my student choir was all ready. They were nervous, they were scared because we were attempting to sing in Estonian. We had spent months learning this song, and we had been advised that this would really connect with the people. So this was our premiere of our song Tuljak. And as I was conducting the choir and they were all eyes on me and singing vigorously, I could see things happening in their faces. And I could sense from behind me that something was going on that I couldn't quite tap into because I was too engaged in keeping the choir going. And we kept singing. And as we were singing, I could feel an energy coming up behind me, and I could see it again in the group. The audience was standing, and they were joining with us and singing. And we had no idea that we had brought to this event a song that had so much passion and meaning for all those students and the teachers. And what we found out was that this graduating class, the grade 12s that we were singing to, they were the first class of Estonian children to graduate being able to speak their mother tongue of Estonian. So the fact that this Canadian group had come and sang one of their most passionate songs, they were absolutely enthralled and surprised the heck out of my students, and the connection that then happened and the electricity in the air was amazing. And we were able to, after this concert, share a meal with them, go around the school, and a lot of them, of course, were not speaking the same language. There were a few that were speaking in German, and some of the students were speaking English as well, but the language didn't matter. It was the music and the passion of singing, and also the youthfulness of my senior grade 11s and 12s and their grade 12s, joyful about the fact that they were living in that moment and sharing the language of music plus the mother tongue of the Estonian people. So that was one of those moments where we were all uplifted in the music and in the moment.
Thank you, Joni and Corey and Francis. Just pathways opening up. Muscle memory of the mind snaps into focus. And I mean, can I wish, Corey, for all of your plans to go out the window because that's happening all the time? Energy, electric energy that joins people together. That's a lot going on. There is a wonder in all of that, a mystery, a beautiful mystery. And it's there in the details. And there's a mystery and a wonder in the way it all comes together. All those details drawn by some kind of magnetic power that holds it all together. And like a shooting star or a flash of insight or an epiphany, in a moment, we sense it. We feel it. We open to it. And we remember it. We remember that love makes us, that love remakes us, that the music of love finds a way. Amen.
Oftentimes I dream of music, of
such a gift for us to be led in music in that way, and to let that music, I mean, many of us have a lot of memories of that particular piece and of singing together, and to keep that alive in us is a real gift. So thank you for that. And now we gather around the table of grace, the table that Jesus called us to, the table around which they broke the bread and shared the cup, and in that way experienced what was originally called a love feast, the feast of that gift of love that draws us together. So this is a good time for you to take the bread or the cup and get it in front of you and ready, because we're going to share that now, and to gather with anyone that's with you to share in communion. And just so that you know, this is the table of grace. This is the table that Jesus called us to, and we are all guests at this table. We all have a place at this table. It is the unbounded love of God that gives us that place. And so no matter where you come from, who you are, what your life experience is, who you love, how you live, you have a place at the table because God created that place for you. So welcome to this table. And we're going to begin our communion prayer by centering into music, singing, "Lord, listen to your children pray."
Lord, listen to your children pray. Lord, send your spirit in this place. Lord, listen to your children pray. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, listen to your children pray. Lord, send your spirit in this place. Lord, listen to your children pray. Send us love, send us power, send us grace.
The life you give us. From your very first act of creation, bringing light out of darkness through big bangs and the whispering within our hearts, you bring life. From the slow, millennia-long sculpting of mountain ranges to the momentary flash of a shooting star, the creation changes and you are at the heart of it. Your love is its heartbeat. And from our most ancient ancestors, Sarah, Abraham, Moses, Miriam, Esther, Ruth, the prophets, the poets, in their own place and time, singing your song of love, justice, and peace. From Jesus of Nazareth and the circle of beautiful, broken, searching followers who sang your gospel song to those who needed it most and paid the ultimate price for their song, we give you thanks.
O God, hear our prayer as we gather around this table to which Jesus has called us. For all that has brought us here, thank you. For the story song of faith that has echoed down the generations to find an expression in us gathered in this way, thank you. For all those who are gathered on our prayer list this week, let the reassuring, strengthening, healing waves of your love flow to each named and each person we name now in the quietness of our own hearts.
O God, as we come to this table, let gratitude be our song as we join with those of every time and place to sing you praise.
Adores you. My heart is glad to say the words, you are holy God. Santo, 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 mi corazón te adora, mi corazón te sabe decir, Santo eres Dios. On the night you were betrayed, you took the bread. After giving thanks, you broke it and said, "This is my body, broken for you. And as you eat it, remember me. This is my body, broken for you. And as you eat it, remember me." On the night you were betrayed, you held the cup. After giving thanks, you lifted it up. This is my life, poured out for you. And as you drink it, remember me. This is my life, poured out for you. And as you drink it, remember me. So we thank you for the cup and for the bread. For we see the life you gave and the life you shed. And we remember your wondrous love. You gave your spirit to live in us. And we remember your wondrous love. You gave your spirit to live in us.
So now I'd invite you to take the bread and the cup where you are and tear up a piece, dip it in, receive, share it with those that are with you, and share it with all of us who are joined together by the mystery of the internet, and know that God's presence is with you. These are the gifts of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Let us join together in prayer. O God, for the gift of bread and wine, for the gift of faith and song, for the gift of your Spirit which brings it all together here and everywhere, we give you thanks. And now send us out full of your love with a gospel song in our hearts and on our lips, ready to witness and to serve in Jesus' name. Amen.
Singing love, and he danced singing love, he danced singing love. He arose in silence, for the love to go on, we must make it our song. You and I be the singers. He came singing faith, and he lived singing faith. He died singing faith. He arose in silence. For the faith to go on, we must make it our song. You and I be the singers. He came singing home, and he lived singing home. He died singing home. He arose in silence. For the hope to go on, we must make it our song. You and I be the singers. He came singing peace, and he lived singing peace. He died singing peace. He arose in silence. For the peace to go on, we must make it our song. You and I be the singers.
He came singing love, and so do we. This community knows well how to sing, and in times of separateness and in times of being together differently, there is still music being made and songs being sung and love being given so exuberantly. This community also knows how to love well. And in times of need, you arrive with your voices and your hands and your tools and your tears and your furniture and your funds. So in this spirit of love and the voices that we raise in hope and joy for a tomorrow when we can all be together, we accept anything that you can give to the life and work of this community. You can visit our website, highlandsunited.org, for all of those opportunities. And wherever your heart pulls you, know that those gifts are greatly appreciated.
So, I want you to see one more thing. And this is a Lufthansa, like the airline, commercial. But just before we go there, you might want to turn your volume down just a little bit because it starts with a bang, okay? And here it is. not only is there music out there, but there's music in here. And what that music is matters. We take that music out into the world. So as we go, may you hold that gospel soundtrack of love, and may it be strong in you. Because it changes everything. It changes everything that you see, and it changes the way you engage in the world. It changes how we come together in the world. It opens up possibilities to emerge in any moment. So as you go, may the gospel song be strong in you. May you be united with all those others who want to sing that gospel song and are called to sing it with love in the world. And may the Spirit guide you and keep you as you go. Amen. Well, thank you for being here today. It was great to have you with us from wherever you are coming. It's great that you're here. The coffee time will open up very shortly, and Colleen will be there to host that. You can get the link from your Friday email, or if you didn't get that, you can email andria.irwin@highlandsunited.org, and she will send that directly to you. You can do that right now, and she will get you that link. So please join us for coffee. It would be great to see you there. If for some reason you don't get the Friday message, we send out one message a week to our listserv, unless something happens and we need to get in touch with you in between there. But that is a predictable and dependable way of knowing what's going on in the life of Highlands United Church. So if you don't get that message and you would like to, just send an email to church office at highlandsunited.org, and just requests to be put on the listserv, and we will get you that. All of what goes on at Highlands United Church is found on our website, so you can find all the links there. A couple of things this afternoon. The amazing race that the youth are doing is happening, and there's going to be safely distanced, COVID-safe pairs of racers out there doing a kind of a scavenger hunt thing. And it'll be a lot of fun. It's happening at 12:30, and it'll be all over the village. So just so that you know, that's what's going on. But here's another activity I wanted to let you know about. We at Highlands have a team called Team Highlands that is joining the Coldest Night of the Year walk this year. The Coldest Night of the Year is an organization across the country that supports organizations that work with people who are homeless. And the local downtown Vancouver organization that is being supported by Coldest Night this year is First United Church. So they've called all of us to create teams. And we walk on the 20th of February, 2 or 5 kilometers, safely, COVID safe. And between now and then, we are gathering funds to support their work. And you can go onto our website and find the link to either join the team and walk with us, or you can make a contribution to our work, our walk. So that's on our website. Our original goal was 20 people on the team and that we would raise $2,000. We've had to revise that goal. We're still going to stick with 20, the goal of gathering, or getting as many as 20 people walking, but we're pushing $4,000 now, so we revised our goal to $5,000. Pretty amazing. So for all of those of you who have already contributed to this, thank you so much. It's quite stunning to see, as Andria said, how people step up and pool our resources to try and make a loving difference in the world. If you want to be a part of that, go to our website, click on the link, and you can do that there. As I said, coffee time is opening up right now. Thanks for coming. It's been great to worship with you, and we'll see you next week.